Hello everyone, Justin here, and today we're going to draw the back, and I'm going to try to show you and name the muscles, the major muscles of the back. And by learning where these muscles are, you'll be able to draw a muscular back a little bit more accurately because you'll know where to put the shadows. So I'm just going to start here by drawing the head and the neck, and actually I'm going to go ahead and draw the midline for all of this. So I'm just gonna mark out some of the bigger areas right now. So about halfway down the back you've got muscles, and I'll just indicate that by these lines here, kind of like an upside down triangle. And then when you come out here, you got the top of the shoulders right here where the deltoids are, the shoulder muscles. So then the back for the male is generally in the shape of a tapered rectangle. So I'll just go ahead and kind of mark that roughly. So then what we have here are the deltoid again. So they come out and it actually wraps the shoulder both in the front, the sides, and right here, the back. So here we'll mark the posterior edges of the deltoid muscle, which is right here. So this muscle right here again is the trapezius. It's a big muscle. So then you have a big muscle here that wraps around the torso called the Latissimus Dorsi. So we'll just darken this a little bit more here. And the lower edge will start right about here and start going in. That's the lower edge. And then the upper edge comes out from about the midway down this triangle, and it'll come out this way. And we'll do the other side like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this V shape a little bit more pronounced. So now this deltoid comes all the way out here towards the arms, wraps around the upper arm, and inserts into the humeral bone here. So let's just go ahead and continue the arm here. Again, it kind of goes out pretty rounded, especially when the muscles are large, like with weightlifters. And then it wraps around the arm muscles here, which from the back view would be the triceps. So let's go ahead and mark the lower part of the deltoid here again, a little bit darker, and this. So within this triangular space then are the Teres muscles. So you've got the Infraspinatus muscle right here, and I'll draw the lower edge of it right here. And here's the medial, meaning towards the center edge right here. And you've got the teres minor muscle going across this way. So right here, again, this right here is the infraspinatus muscle. So I'll just mark that like this, and the teres minor. Okay, this will make a little bit more sense once I start shading this in. So underneath the Latissimus Dorsi muscle, which is right here, we then have the external oblique muscle, which wraps around the waist right here. So just right at the waist then, you have this big bone called the iliac crest, and I'll just kind of mark these curves to show that. And this is where the buttock muscles are. So I will just indicate that. There's the gluteus medius muscle, which is the outside muscle right here. And then I'll go ahead and draw that out here as well on the left side. So the gluteus muscle. This is the gluteus medius out here. And then the big muscle, which forms the major bulk of the butt would be this right here. Okay, so let's go back to the upper muscle, the upper back here. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark these outlines a little bit more, and I think I'll just go ahead and start shading the left side first. So when shading this, I will use pencil lines that follow the actual fibers of the muscle. So like here, it wraps around the back and then it curves around the outer part of the shoulder like this. Okay, just to give it more form, I'll make this part here a little bit darker, and same with down here. This deltoid muscle is actually composed of different sections, different heads, and that's why I made this part a little bit darker right there. Now here's our infraspinatus muscle again. So let's go ahead and draw the striations of that muscle this way. And because this muscle is underneath this deltoid, I'll just go ahead and make this part a little bit darker right underneath the deltoid. And I'll make this part here a little darker as well. And I'm just adding extra lines here to show that it's got a form. It's not flat. So then here we've got the teres major muscle going this way. So again, I'll draw the muscle striations, and hiding underneath here would be the teres minor muscle. Okay. Alright, so now we've got this big Latissimus Dorsi, and it wraps around the torso here. So I'll just show you the direction of the muscle, and it goes like this. So I'll just start shading, following the contours of the direction of the muscle. And it starts right here in the back, and a lot of this muscle, a lot of this area right here would be fascia. Fascia is just this really fibrous material that are at the ends of the muscle, and where it inserts into bone, it's like a thin fibrous material. So I'll just do this just to give it some shape. And this Latissimus dorsi then actually wraps underneath these muscles here. So I'm gonna make this part a little bit darker and then shade underneath. This is the erector spiny. And I'll just continue with this shading, trying to follow the direction of the muscle again. So now we have this area here where there are thin muscles, and underneath are the rhomboid major and rhomboid minor muscles leading up to the trapezius up here. Let me just go ahead and start shading in the trapezius actually. So it attaches to the head up here like this, in this direction, and then goes to the center of the back this way, and then to the rhomboid minor muscle, which is right here, and the rhomboid major down here. Okay, so this right here is fibrous tissue, ligaments, and I'll just keep going this way towards the center line. And make this a little bit darker again, just to show that this Latissimus dorsi is underneath. Okay, so I'll just make this part a little bit lighter as far as shading, just to show that that's not all muscle here in the center. Okay, so this muscle here is the external oblique, and it actually wraps around to the belly area. So I'll just go ahead and draw it in like this, and I'll shade it on this side as well. And here's the lower edge of it, and here. So then underneath that then would be the internal oblique, and it's going to go this way a little bit more vertically. And I'll shade this right here to make it more rounded, and another shadow line here underneath the Latissimus Dorsi muscle, and I'll do the same right there. Okay, just to indicate that there's muscles here as well, you've got the triceps muscle here in the upper arm, and it inserts into the bone right here. You'll actually kind of see the bone here, but from here you've got the muscle going this way, and I'll just indicate that briefly. Our focus is not on the arm, it's on the back muscles. So I'll go ahead and draw these striations again. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to the head here, because these muscles will actually attach to the skull and to the spine right here. So I'll just indicate that the edge of the trapezius is up here, is right there and here, and it leads up to the skull. And I won't do too much up there with the skull. And those are pretty much the muscles of the back. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and continue to shade in these other areas on the other side. So to give form here to the Latissimus Dorsi, to show that it's wrapping around the torso, I'm just redrawing the same lines over and over until it gets dark, especially closer to the edge here. And I'm keeping this area light. As I mentioned, this is the fascia, which is fibrous and tends to be kind of a lighter color, whereas the muscle has a darker shade. And I'll make this a little bit darker as well. And as far as the buttocks area, the muscle goes in this direction, kind of wrapping around. This right here is the Gluteus Maximus, while this right here is the Gluteus Medius. And I'll just go ahead and indicate the direction as well. And add a little bit of shading to give it more form. Same with this Gluteus Maximus muscle. Okay, let's go back here to the triceps. I'm just indicating that there are other muscles here that kind of show up, but all these muscles here in the upper arm generally fall in the same direction. Okay, so here we are with the right deltoid, and again it wraps around the back and then wraps around the side. So just quickly indicate the direction. And as I mentioned before, there are different heads to the deltoid, different groups. So I just indicate that with a slightly darker line right there. And again, to give it more form, I'm making it darker right there. Okay. All right. So the spine would be going right down the middle here, and depending on the thickness of the person's muscles, you may be able to feel the spines, feel the spine, the cervical vertebra, and can definitely show up on the skin surface. So I'll just indicate some shadows here by the skull. So that's pretty much it. So again, this is the deltoid. We've got the scapula here, which is a bone. We've got the teres minor here, teres major. We've got this big latissimus dorsi giving the male torso a V shape, which is like this. You've got the abdominal muscles which wrap around the waist right here, the gluteus maximus and gluteus medius muscles. And right here is the teres major and the teres minor. Okay, so these are the major muscles of the back, and by knowing where these muscles are, you'll be able to indicate landmarks of the back when you draw the back and be more accurate with anatomy. So thanks for watching, and I hope you got something out of this video.